Right, good morning ladies and gentlemen and people of YouTubes. I'm going to sort some wiring out today. Now I've already made a little bit of a start in the sense of removing the ECU, but yeah, we're going to try and tidy some of this up. As you can see, it's a little bit here and there and a little bit scruffy, so, and there's some loom tape on it that isn't really doing much taping. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull everything out as much as I can, assess it, and see what the plan is going to be. So all I'm going to do is just, yeah, as I say, just remove bits and pieces, and then see where we can put things to where the wires will stretch. So bear with me for a few minutes. Right, so this is where we're up to at the moment. So we've got our positive cables here which bolt together, that went to the battery in the passenger compartment. We've got this here, which I don't really know what that's for, but it goes into the engine room, which probably goes into this, which feeds the relay box, and I think it goes over to the inertia switch as well, which is this one here. So I might have to trace that back and just take the inertia switch out. We've got some bare wires here, don't know what they are, that's for the headlights. And it's looked like I've got a sub loom here to convert the headlights from a Mark III to a Mark, or from a Rover 100 to a Mark III. So we'll have to sort that out, but we've got a cap missing here. But by looks on the other side, that is all wrapped up in there, and then that dangles out the bottom. Right, and we've got a water pump down here as well, for the charge cooler, which is this wire here, which looks like it's been twisted together on one of the fan speeds for the blower motor. So yeah, I think we'll put that on a separate switch. Right, we've got most of it out of the way now. So that's all through. I've pulled all that through. So that's the body harness. What other things have I discovered along the way? The fan wiring, that's all melted, so that was almost shorting out together, so we'll have to re-rate that, it's not a problem. And the fuel pressure regulator obviously comes off from the blanking plate here and then goes off to this, and this actually regulates the fuel. But they've blocked off the original here, so I might take this metal pipe out which runs along the bottom of the inlet manifold. You can see where it comes out here, and just block it off here, so we can get rid of all that as well. But yeah, I've got the engine harness out as well, which is this lovely mess here. Quite straightforward. Don't know if you remember in the last video I said about this little black wire that went through the firewall. That was actually for the start inhibitor, which is this one here, which went onto the start motor to allow you to start it. So we need to find out why that isn't working. I'm going to say it's because I think it's a white and black wire somewhere, might be that one. Or there's a wire that goes into the main relay box, which is that little box over there. I'll zoom you in. That little box there, which is normally through the 5AS. So you have to just put that wire straight to earth. I can't remember if it was a black with white trace or a white with black trace. But yeah, you have to stick that in through onto an earth. And also I've got this white with a blue trace wire here, which just attached with a bit of black wire. No idea where it go, but I think that might be for, well, the only wire that I can find on the wiring diagrams with a white with a blue trace is for crank signal, so I don't know where that goes. So I'm going to pull all this harness apart and see what's what, and I might even get a second-hand harness and start from scratch, because that's just a big mess. Eventually I do want to go on to like an Emerald or Max ECU or something like that, but that's later on down the road, and once I find my feet with it and we're trying to get extra power. But for now we'll just tidy up this wire in here, get it inside the car and tidy the bay up, and yeah, go from there really. So let me get all this stripped apart and I'll come back to you when I've done all that. Right, so I'm just pulling apart this loom here that went to the front of the car. I've got the fuse box thing here pulled through, and then these two bits connect to the engine harness. This was a relay, not really too sure what that relay controls, so I'm going to have to look at the colour codes for that. I think the other relay, which is, this could be the old fan relay, you see. I think that might go into the water sensor in the radiator on a Rover 100. Again, I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to have a look at the colour codes on it. But I think that might trigger the fan, because I think there's a blue and it's blue and purple. It's normally blue and slate for the fan normally, but I found the fan one in the engine loom that was connected to the fan, which was the other yellow relay next to that one. So I've got all this stuff here which needs to stay inside the car. This is the old blower motor fan, so I'll terminate that off properly and then just wrap that up in the loom under the dash somewhere. And then all this stuff here is just the headlights. So I've got headlight, indicator. I think that's the old headlight leveling system on a Rover 100, and obviously the earth point there. So this stuff is all to go outside, and this stuff is all to stay inside. So we might have to do some cutting and soldering to get the wire lengths a bit nicer, but we'll sort that out when we make the ECU and the relay box, etc, etc. Again, this here, the 5AS, will just snake that back on itself and tie that into the loom, and then we'll just find out what wires do what here, because that'll be handy to have an ignition feed, a permanent live, and obviously an earth we can just get from the back of the dash. So it's a nice easy solution there, and the rest of them are speaker cables, so they can again just be cut back and moved around to the back of the dash. And then obviously the aerial, which is here, so we'll just cut that out and just cut that flush and not really worry about that. Right, what do I do now? I think we've exhausted our knowledge for this one for now, until we find out what colours wires this is. So we better move on to the engine harness and get all that stripped out and see what mess that is in. Right, so I'll come back to you when I've stripped the engine harness all apart. Right, now we've ascertained what's what in the actual car itself. This is the engine wiring harness. This has obviously been adapted to be MEMS free onto Metro, so there's loads of splices. Have it been done properly? Well, to a degree. to a degree into a budget, I would say, more than anything else, because you can get someone that will spend hours and hours and hours, but then obviously the price will go up and up and up, and people don't want to pay. So people like me who want to do it properly on our own cars, then we've got all the time in the world. But we've got it all demasked or detaped. So I've got a wiring diagram of what should go where. So it's just a case of, we'll separate these looms here. So this is alternator, oil pressure, oil temperature, and another one for the alternator. So we'll de-pin this and we'll get this out of the loom. This goes to the starter motor. That's the starter motor as well. So we'll get all that de-pinned, and then we'll start working our way through in separating all the various different types of looms. And then I would like to make up my own loom, but at this moment in time I don't think it's necessary, purely because later on down the road we'll be going for a standalone ECU, and then we will be making our own loom for that. So we're going to adapt, fix, overcome and repair this loom for the meantime, and try to make it stretch so that will go inside the car. So once we've got all these different plugs unpicked, then we'll lay it out on the car, and then hopefully we can then start to map out where it's going to go, how long the wires need to be, if they need to be extended or shortened. So let me get on and get all this unpicked, and then we'll go from there. Right, I haven't got much battery left, so I'm going to explain what I've done. I've torn down the loom into their separate areas. So basically we've got what would be on an MGF TF, that would be coming straight from the body, and this has been joined up into the body plug for the Metro. And then we've got our input for the MFU, which is going to be like starter signal and all that sort of stuff. I don't know what these two wires are for, these green and browns. So I'm going to have to look at that. They're just like bare wires at the minute, so I'm going to have a look and see what's going on with them. So that's the body. I'll zoom you out. That's the body loom there. We've got a main ECU plug here. All them tails there, apart from that brown and pink one, are what's been cut. So we like to de-pin that. I have got some new plugs here, but they're very sparse at the minute. This is just a live from the relay box, and this is the main relay box that we've got, and then we've got our fused live that feeds the relay box, and then we've got the start inhibitor wire coiled up, and we've got the fuel pump inertia switch cut off there, and then this purple wire here joins onto this purple wire here, which had a fuse in it. So that's basically the main live to the ECU, part of the ECU up. So that's that bit done. And then these bits here, we've got charcoal canister, cam sensor, throttle position sensor, idle air control valve, I think that is, injector loom. Obviously I've all de-pinned all these. Air intake temperature sensor. This is wired in a little bit differently. Normally that'd be wired into this, but we're going for an external one onto the charge cooler. Relay fan control, O2 sensor, temperature sensor, coolant temperature sensor for the ECU, coolant temperature for the gauge, cam signal sensor, This is just a coil of earths. And then we've got this other bit of loom here, which is alternator, alternator charge, oil pressure and oil temperature. And then obviously that goes all the way over to that ring terminal there, which then goes to the starter motor. So I've took all that apart, I've documented it on here, so I've wrote everything down. I've married it up to this wiring diagram from a catering owners club, and it all seems to marry up. So the only thing I'm going to have to document is this lot here, which I'll do another day. But for now, my battery's going dead, so I'm going to go home and we'll pick this up another time.